The sun had barely risen over the quiet town of Millford when the faint hum of life began to stir. A few shopkeepers opened their shutters, and the smell of freshly baked bread drifted through the cobblestone streets. In the corner of the town stood a small wooden workshop, belonging to a man named Ethan Miller, a 52-year-old carpenter whose hands told stories of decades spent shaping wood and dreams alike. His gray beard held traces of sawdust, and his shirt bore patches of old varnish, the quiet badges of a man who worked not for fame, but for purpose. Ethan wasn't rich, nor did he care for riches. His joy came from the rhythm of his tools, the scent of cedar, and the quiet pride of creating something lasting. Yet beneath his calm surface lay a struggle he rarely spoke of. Work had slowed, bills had piled up, and his aging body no longer matched his youthful drive. His daughter, Lily, was in college, and he barely managed to send her tuition each month. Still, every morning he whispered a prayer of gratitude and picked up his tools again. One cold morning, as he sipped his coffee, a knock came at the door. It was Mr. Grant, the owner of a large construction company. "Ethan," he said, "I've got a proposal. We're building luxury homes outside town. I'll pay you well if you help with the interiors." Ethan hesitated. It was good money, but it meant giving up the kind of work he loved. Small, detailed pieces made with care. "I'll think about it," he said softly. That night, he sat by the fire, staring at his old photographs. His wife smiling, Lily as a child, and the small furniture pieces that once made people smile. The next morning, he went to the new site. The work was mechanical, rushed, and loud. He tried to adapt, but the spirit wasn't there. One afternoon, a young worker accidentally dropped a heavy beam, almost hitting another man. Ethan rushed forward, pushing the man out of the way, taking the hit himself. His shoulder cracked. Pain surged through him, and the site went silent. Weeks passed. Ethan's arm healed slowly, but he couldn't work as before. His savings dwindled, and he wondered if his purpose had ended. One rainy night, sitting alone in his dark workshop, he whispered, "Maybe it's time to stop." Just then, the door creaked open. A young boy from the neighborhood stood there, holding a broken wooden toy. "Mr. Miller," he said shyly, "Mom said you could fix this. It's my dad's gift, but it broke." Ethan looked at the toy. Simple. Handmade, and something inside him stirred. "Come back tomorrow," he said. That night he worked carefully, sanding, gluing, polishing. By dawn, the toy looked brand new. When the boy returned and saw it, his eyes lit up. "Thank you, sir." Ethan smiled. A real smile, the kind he hadn't felt in months. Word spread through the town again. People brought old chairs, frames, keepsakes. Slowly, his workshop filled with life. A few weeks later, Mr. Grant visited again. "Ethan, I heard you're back in business. I was wrong to think money could replace craft." Ethan nodded. "We all forget sometimes what truly builds a home." His daughter returned for summer break, proud to see her father's shop bustling again. "Dad," she said, "you taught me that success isn't about how high we climb, but how true we stay to who we are." Months passed, and Ethan's work became more than just furniture. It became a symbol of endurance, honesty, and heart. One evening, as the sunset painted gold across his window, he sat quietly, running his hand over a new carving, a tree with deep roots. The carving was for Lily's graduation gift, a reminder that no matter how far she'd go, her strength came from those roots. Years later, when people in Millford spoke of Ethan Miller, they didn't talk about how much he earned. They talked about the man who never gave up, who rebuilt not just wood, but faith. His shop became a small museum of love and resilience, and the children who once watched him work grew up to tell their own stories of patience and pride. And one morning, when the sun rose again over Millford, its light spilling through the same window where it all began, Ethan smiled, not because life was easy, but because he had finally learned what truly mattered. In life, we often find ourselves sitting alone, just like Clara did that day in the diner, surrounded by people yet feeling unseen. Sometimes the world can be harsh and kindness feels rare, but moments like these test who we truly are. Clara didn't fight back with anger. She didn't shout or curse. She stayed calm even when humiliated, because deep inside she knew dignity is stronger than hate. Her silence that day wasn't weakness. It was wisdom. The man who stood up for her, the one who refused to stay silent. He reminded everyone that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's simply doing what's right when no one else will. Life gives us all chances to choose, kindness or cruelty, silence or support. Every time we choose kindness, we make the world a little softer, a little safer. The truth is, we don't remember the faces of those who laugh at others, but we never forget the ones who stand beside us when we're hurting. So the next time you see someone being disrespected, mocked or ignored, don't look away. Be the one who speaks, the one who helps, the one who changes the moment. Because real strength isn't in power, it's in compassion. And real courage isn't in fighting, it's in protecting what's right. That's the lesson Clara left behind that day. Respect is not something you demand, it's something you give. And when you give it, the world gives it back to you in ways you never expect.